Hi, I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson. You're watching Get Your Sax Together, and this week we lost one of the most special saxophone players of all time, the one and only Wayne Shorter. So instead of my normal schedule, I've decided just to vibe it and bring out a special show dedicated to the one and only Wayne Shorter, who inspired countless saxophone players, including me, massively with his reedy and interesting lines. First playing with Art Blakey, and then obviously playing with, famously with the Miles Davis Quintet. He had all his own classic Blue Note albums along the way. And then with Weather Report, and then his own solo groups. This was a true master of music who transcended the instrument. He transcended the instrument to make, what he did a complete art form. He wasn't just a great saxophone player. He was the consummate artist. And very difficult to copy. Nobody really copied Wayne Shorter because he had such a unique, instantly identifiable style that you can hear straight away. He's got that really distinctive kind of reedy tone. His lines were sinewy and interesting. And he always played with creativity. He would build motifs beautifully. He wasn't like a lick meister, if you know what I mean. He was the consummate improviser, one of the greatest musicians that we'll ever see, and it's a great loss. So this isn't intended to be a full obituary to Wayne Shorter. However, I thought I would just rush this video out and give him, the props the way that I know best, which is through the music. So I've chosen 3 of my favorite ever Wayne Shorter solos, which I'm just going to go through. We're going to celebrate how awesome they are. I'll maybe play a few bits, point out a few of my favorite things. So I'm going to go into the screen share. Okay, we've got 3 of my favorite ever Wayne Shorter solos to go through, starting with this one, Yes or No. I'm sure you know this tune. Let's remind ourselves of the head. This is from 1964. This is such a killer tune. Okay, so I'm sure you know the tune. It's a long AABA structure, and many people have recorded this tune because it's such a fantastic tune. And it's as good a time as any to mention what an awesome jazz composer Wayne Shorter was. Not just a jazz composer, I believe he even wrote an opera at the end of his life as well, which is no mean feat. So fantastic jazz compositions, and Wayne Shorter's tunes form, many of the classic jazz songs that just build the language of the music. He is the music. He just created the music, and he is the music. So let's jump forward to Wayne's famous solo now on Yes or No, which is just a masterpiece of motifs. And he uses this bebop language, which even through the 4 or 5 years that we're going to go through these 3 solos, he doesn't do so much. So you can see great development in him, even in a few years, which is quite awesome. Here's the solo. Check this out, man. Like all the time, he's building these really cool motifs throughout his solos and developing them. It's just a masterpiece of improvisational construction. So this is interesting because he's playing this bebop language, which you don't hear so much in his playing later on. So, for example, if we go from around about here, which is these minor 2-5-1s, it sounds like this. But really fantastic bebop lines, absolutely nailing the chords, whereas later on it gets much more ambiguous when he plays. So let's check out that bridge again. That sound as well, what a tone. Oh, this is just a great chorus. How about that for a start to your chorus? That is absolutely unbelievable. And then he goes straight into another sort of, vocabulary bebop loop, which is interesting. Let's hear that. And I really love that rogue, that really rogue G natural in that run. Let's bring the page up a little bit more to here. Yeah, look, down the bottom of this run, he suddenly just plays this absolutely random G natural, which I love. That makes absolutely no sense at all, but it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, let's hear that again. Now this bit's interesting because this is a clue of the Wayne Shorter to come, if you like. This little section, let's say from around this little bit here. This is much more of the sort of sinewy, weavy sort of lines that Wayne Shorter would end up playing in only a few years later with Miles's band. I can't actually see what I'm doing because I've just obliterated it with that stupid pen. But let's say, from here to here. All right, let's see if I can actually see it now. That's the really kind of snaky, beautiful Wayne Shorter sort of lines that we're going to expect in just a couple of years' time. Often you think of Wayne Shorter as being somebody who kind of skates around a little bit on the time feel. But all you got to do is listen to this to realise that his time is like an absolute machine gun. And he's got this really distinctive tone with it. It's kind of like this barky, sort of hard tone, but with a sort of reedy edge to it. But those eighth note lines, man, are absolutely nailed. Check it out. So good. And this is one of his best bits. Talk about building, a motif all the way through. Check this out. And actually, he starts the whole idea by playing the head again. And this is something that he does throughout his entire career. Play the melody. you know, not many people actually come back and play the melody, and Wayne Shorter does it all the time, as we'll see later, and here's a great example of it. I mean, that is just something else. Talk about working an idea. Let's hear that again. So look at that. In you know, 2 bars basically, it goes from the highest note in the instrument, you know, with that altissimo F sharp, right down to what almost the lowest note, B, completely all over the horn. He's some improviser, I'm telling you. And again on this 2/5, working those thematic ideas. You know, which is quite a sort of Coltrane-y type thing to do, to work those little melodic cells. And this was 1964, Love Supreme year. Michael Brecker, who? Are we hearing a little bit of Michael Brecker here? What a fantastic idea, and the way he like switches it round in the second half. So the first time he plays it, it starts right on beat 1. And then the second time he plays it, it starts, you know, on beat 2 instead. He just displaces it. Absolutely brilliant. Let's do that again. Oh man, what a solo. How good is that? That's Yes or No from 1964. But we're going to keep going with all the good stuff. So let's move on to the next solo now. And the next solo I've picked out as one of my absolute favourites is from his work with Miles Davis's famous second quintet. And this is the tune Prince of Darkness from the Sorcerer album, which is one of my favourite ever Miles Davis records, and one of my favourite songs from it, and one of my favourite Wayne Shorter solos from that. So let's remind ourselves of the melody for Prince of Darkness. Oh man, it's so hip, isn't it? Tony Williams on this is ridiculous. What a Miles solo that is. But we're not here for Miles, we're here for the one and only Wayne. So let's check out a bit of Wayne's solo on this. So there's much more of this skatey type stuff, you know, flying a lot of notes over the time, interspersed with real locked in eighth notes. So that's not something he was doing during Yes or No. One thing which he's still doing, which is his trademark, are these repeated motifs starting at the beginning of this chorus here. Look. Oh, there we go. Such awesome lines. Let's hear that again. Just like a mouse playing with a ball of yarn. Oh, Tony Williams. So good. No piano. So you remember I said he returns to the melody a lot. Well, there's a great example of it at the start of that chorus. That's the melody come back there. Oh, this is the classic. This is my favorite bit of the whole solo, I think. And if you listen, we're going to listen from chorus 5. And when we get to here, him and Wayne and Tony Williams hit this fourth beat together with such ferocity. Check it out. Let's see where we're going. One, two. What the hell? Must have been like telepathically communicating with each other on that one. I guess you do when you play together every night like those guys. But what a line that is, that final line starting from, well, I guess, it all starts to build up from here. But what a line it is. Check this out in slow motion. Let's just hear Wayne play that one more time. 3, 4. Brilliant. More flurries. Segueing straight back into the head beautifully. Oh man, that is such a killer solo. It's just so Wayne-like. It's so vibey, and it's his aesthetic is so dry and angular. It's absolutely awesome. Okay, now on to the final solo, which he's moved on to an instrument which he developed, an incredible voice on, the soprano saxophone. So let me just grab my soprano. And this is from Miles's famous album In a Silent Way, which was a groundbreaking album from 1969, and on which Wayne does this absolutely brilliant solo. You'll probably remember the song when you hear it. If you haven't heard it In a Silent Way in a while, it's absolutely awesome. There's a long, quiet build-up section. And then you got all these moody Fender Rhodes chords and stuff like that. There's the John McLaughlin guitar solo. And then we're into the chords again, and it's into Wayne's solo. There's a bit of a build up for a while, and then we're into the top of his solo. And he just uses these 2 notes to begin with, like for the whole first couple of lines, just alternate between these 2 notes. It's so beautiful. Check this out. Third phrase. There's the next note. Oh man, that is just something else, isn't it? The way he improvises over that. And it's kind of sort of bluesy, but really abstract as well. And that's what's the most fantastic thing about this solo, for my mind, is the way he makes it bluesy, but not cheesy blues, not blues licks. And I think it's because he uses the major third and the minor third in a lot of his lines. That is some pretty beautiful soprano playing. Let's move on. We're on to number 5 now. That's the 5th phrase. I think I marked it. By the way, sorry about these really scuffy handwritten transcriptions I did from back in the day. It's just, like I said, I'm rushing this video out. Oh, that's such a great line. I absolutely love that one, and the interesting rhythms he throws around as well. So when you actually stop to analyze it, I'm looking at, from here to here, bearing in mind it's just this kind of, in soprano pitches, this G thing kind of sound. That's just a G minor pentatonic to start. Then you get these sort of arpeggios. So a C arpeggio, an E flat major 7 arpeggio, and a D minor 7 arpeggio, which makes the whole figure. It's probably that E flat I love the most, I think. Absolutely awesome. Right, let's get going. Because he's really playing soulfully and from the heart, but without playing anything cheesy. He's just, for example, that when the bass comes in there, that G minor figure. There's nothing unique about that, but it's just the way he plays it is so haunting and beautiful. That's just up the mixed Lydian scale. It's insane. Playing thematically, and he keeps it going. The natural sixth. Now he doubles it up. So yeah, that's the bit if you ever thought he's just skating over the time, and then he absolutely nails it with this 16th note passage. That's absolutely brilliant. Let's check that line out there. So I'm starting from here when he kind of does this double time figure. So you can just hear me practicing it live. Why not? Yeah, what a line that is. Let's keep going. Great time. And this is the best one. That's just such a fantastic, really. That's the most sort of Wayne line in the whole thing. From if I go from here, this line here, check it out. So even on this song, he still manages to play the melody, which is kind of like the bass line in a way. Let's hear it from the top of that line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh man, what an arc to that solo as well. The beautiful structure of it, how it builds and then fades. Oh, it's just too good, isn't it? And that's before I even go into anything he did with Weather Report. Maybe it's some other day I'll do some of his Weather Report solos. Or any of his groundbreaking work that he did on his own in the decades following, which is insane. So, I hope you enjoyed this little whirlwind tour of my favourite 3 Wayne Shorter solos. And inside the inner circle, I've got transcriptions of these. You can have these. I know they're handwritten and a bit scuffy, but you know they still do the job. And that was before I was getting into Wayne Shorter, well before Sibelius. So if you go and check out the inner circle using the link there, I'll have a whole thing on Wayne Shorter there, and you can go and grab the transcriptions. But in the meantime, let's just, have a little reflect on how awesome Wayne Shorter was, what a beautiful gift he brought to the world as a human being and as a musician and as a saxophonist. So rest easy, Wayne, and I'll see you guys next week.